Hello, everyone. I'm Sheldon Barlett Rumor, and this is it. Welcome back to This Is It TV. It is always a pleasure to chat with my dear friend. I'd love for him to reintroduce himself, his first and last name, and all he's got going on.
Sheldon, I'm Louis Bezich, men's health advocate, contributing writer to phillyvoice.com, and of course, the author of Crack the Code, 10 proven secrets that motivate healthy behavior and inspire fulfillment in men over 50. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. I'm always better when I'm talking to you. I'm always better when I'm talking to you. I feel so much better after our conversations. What are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about men and their mental health and well-being. It's tough for guys to engage with physician and healthcare to begin with, and it's even tougher sometimes to acknowledge that they have a mental health problem, even though we all do in one way or another over the course of our lives. And so acknowledging that and getting help is really important. But I want to tell a story today, a contemporary story that really illustrates that getting the help is just the first step.
Sure.
Sustaining those healthy behaviors, taking your meds, seeing your physician and following up is even more important because regression and reoccurrence and things like that are very common in the journey to good mental health. And so that's what I want to talk about today in the form of a story, of the contemporary story of U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman.
For sure, for sure.
Some of you may remember a couple years ago, I wrote a piece in Philly Voice praising Fetterman for acknowledging that he was grappling with depression and that was such a courageous thing to do for such a high-profile public guy. He'd just been elected to the U.S. Senate,
For sure.
so it took a lot of courage to do that. And I use other examples of Lane Johnson, a Philadelphia Eagle, who had the same thing. He acknowledges depression, and other Brian Dawkins and other Eagles. So it's really tough for a high-profile guy to do it. But most recently, we've seen that colleagues of Fetterman and ex-staffers have expressed concern over his mental health, and some of his behavior is indicative of somebody who is going backwards. Although he denies it and says he's doing fine, the concern is, and it was expressed in a New York Magazine story by his former chief of staff, that to his former doc at Reed, that he's not on a good path. And so it illustrates that it's a journey and that we have to sustain those healthy behaviors to really maintain that mental health.
No, absolutely. I think that it's one thing, and brave as it is to acknowledge the situation that you're in, to acknowledge that you are having hardships, to recognize the challenges that you have in front of you. I think that oftentimes people think that that's it, right? I'm going to acknowledge
Yeah.
it. That's what I
Right.
have to do. I went to a doctor. You all told me that I needed help. I went and I got the help. What are you complaining about now? Or, my goodness, I did what you asked me to do. I did what was best for me, but not thinking about what does it mean long term. And I also think that we don't really have, to your point, the conversations about what this looks like long term, right? We don't
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about that it is a marathon and not a sprint, that there's more
Right.
maintenance of it than it is to even the acknowledgement of it. Is that what you're kind of leading to?
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
a journey and there's different components to the journey. But the other piece of news here, and it's good news, is that there are things we can certainly do to sustain that healthy state of mental health. And it starts with, frankly, stuff we talk about all the time, which is diet and exercise. One way to take care of your mental health is to take care of your physical health.
Yeah.
So diet, sleep, making sure you take time to relax, and learning to say no once in a while. Don't add extra burden of stress to your life if you don't have to, and it's okay to say no.
It is.
On top of that, organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Illness talks about the cornerstones of recovery, things like engaging with family and friends who can be very supportive and very important, having hope, working and having a good work ethic all falls into play, along with some good, solid self-determination. So there are guidelines, there are experts out there that can help. And of course, most fundamentally, you know, do what the doctor tells you to do. Take your meds, right? Get your therapy, whatever the case might be. Because if you don't, you'll regress. And that's, what we may be seeing here with the senator.
For sure. And I think that there's also that power of the follow-up appointment, right? I think that a
Yeah,
lot of individuals have been diagnosed with whatever it happens to be, or they go to the doctor initially and the doctor says, we'll see you in 6 months, and 6 months comes and goes. We'll see you in a year. Year comes and goes. But I went. When's the last time you were at the doctor's, right? But I went. When was it? 5 years ago. And I think
yeah,
that it is about that maintenance. It is about that routine. And one of the things I'd love for you to expand on, because we talk about this so often when we get together, is about
sure.
bringing it into your lifestyle, maybe marking the calendar for it, or, allowing for it to not fight against who you are, but incorporating it into your lifestyle. Do you agree on that?
Absolutely. You got to build it into your daily routine. We always talk about habits, routines, and rituals.
Yeah.
And your physical health and your mental health need to be, the successful models that are out there show that it's part of your daily lifestyle. And
Yeah.
you build it in and you make time for it and you consider it a priority because nothing else, if you're not healthy physically and mentally, then nothing else can happen. It
Nothing.
really detracts from all other aspects of your life. And in particular, we also all the time, Sheldon, talk about our social relationships and that emotional support. And
Yeah.
if you don't take care of yourself, then you risk, and that's what we're seeing with Fetterman, is that he's had some longstanding relationships that have deteriorated and are now threatened. And that's why people who love him and care about him are so concerned. Well, that can happen in anybody's life. That's the lesson of the story today, is that what Fetterman seems to be going through can happen to anybody. You
Yeah.
don't have to be a U.S. senator or a high profile individual. It can happen to any of us. So those habits, routines, and rituals are so, so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we wish the best, of course, for the senator, but I do
Absolutely.
think that what is happening is something that we could apply to our own lives and to the lives of our loved ones as we navigate these spaces. So many things are changing. Everybody, and again, as we get older, so many things to pay attention to. But
Yes.
again, it's about the maintenance. It's about the maintenance.
Yep, exactly. To
I love
build it in, make it part of the routine, and that's the model for success.
Oh, well, we want to be successful, and we're so grateful for you for all the wisdom that you provide every single time we sit down. I want to make sure that those that are following, fanning, and liking us are doing the same for you. Where do they find more information about all that you have going on?
You can reach me on social media at Louis Bezich, and of course, my website, louisbezich.com. You'll see what's going on in my world and my interest in healthy behavior.
Oh my goodness. Spoiled again, spoiled always. Promise me, all of you that are watching and listening, that you'll get in touch with my dear friend from all of us here at This Is It TV. I'm Sheldon Barlett Rumor, and we will see you soon. Take care.